Revealed, how a billionaire discovered the incredible life-changing gift in his adopted daughter. Jack Thompson stood in his sprawling mansion, the walls adorned with nothing but his shiny trophies and accolades. Yet, inside, his heart felt like an abandoned echo of the life he once knew. Raised in a small Midwest town by humble parents, Jack had clawed his way to the top, amassing a billion-dollar tech empire. The townsfolk once cheered for their hometown hero, but acclaim felt hollow. Every success was tainted by a lingering void. His eyes flickered to the photo on his desk, the first image he had of Mia. She was 12, wearing a shy smile that battled a haunted past. In his heart, Jack thought adopting Mia was a way to redeem himself, a philanthropic endeavor to reshape his public image. He envisioned charitable stories about a billionaire dad giving hope to a girl in need. But as Mia stepped into his lavish life, the energy she radiated filled his home with light and reminded Jack of the darkness locked away in his own soul. Mia started timidly, finding her place among the marble floors and designer furniture. Yet, Jack soon noticed her troubled glances toward people outside their mansion, her expression a mix of longing and fear. Their worlds collided painfully. Mia would retreat into her shell while Jack turned to spreadsheets and tech meetings, hoping to buy solutions to her struggles. Their connection frayed with every failed attempt on Jack's part to bridge their vast differences. One evening, heart heavy and heavy with guilt, Jack stumbled upon Mia. She was making friends at a local park. Girls who shared baked treats, laughter, and scars of their childhood. Jack felt a chill. He was an intruder in her life, watching her glide through friendships that felt more real than the glittering facade he had built. Like a bad dream, that chill spread through him, tightening around his chest. It all came to a head when Jack reluctantly agreed to attend a local talent show. As he stood in the back, his heart raced. The spotlight clicked on, casting a glow across the stage. And there she was, Mia, clutching the mic, her confidence sparkling like diamonds. She sang with a haunting beauty that drew tears from the crowd. Jack felt the room shift, disapproving murmurs of the community faded, replaced by applause and admiration. In that electric moment, he felt the warmth of the town surrounding them, as if the walls between him and the community melted away. He reached for Mia's hand, desperately trying to connect. What he saw reflected back from the audience showed him not just a daughter, but a marvel of resilience and spirit. A delicate thread wound tighter around his heart, and suddenly he understood love was the true measure of success, not the digits on his bank statement. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but the bliss was short-lived. With the talent show behind them, whispers in the community persisted. Jack's plan to showcase Mia's talent in a citywide event was met with backlash, sparking debates on privilege and intentions. Every kind gesture seemed misjudged, leaving Jack fumbling for words to explain his love for Mia. Just when he thought they could bridge the gap, he feared he might lose her to a world he could never truly understand. Heart racing, he knew he had to confront the community and, most terrifying of all, confront himself. Could he truly become the father Mia deserved? Could he convert his wealth into love? The resounding silence that followed left an insistent question hanging in the air. Could a billionaire recognize his wealth and love rather than dollars? Would Mia accept him as a father figure? The answers felt weighty and uncertain, leaving Jack standing on the precipice of hope and doubt, longing for the redemption that seemed so close yet always just out of reach. Days turned into a blur for Jack after the talent show. Each morning felt like an echo of the last, filled with reminders of his growing discomfort and Mia's rising star. He couldn't shake the feeling that the more he tried to help her, the more he pushed her away. The community's whispers crept into his mind, a relentless chorus questioning everything he thought he knew about love and family. He watched Mia closely now, her playful spirit dimming under the weight of judgmental glances. The sparkle in her eyes that once shone brightly when she sang was flickering like a candle in the wind. Jack felt helpless against the tide of negativity. How could he explain that his intentions sprang from a place of love, not just obligation? One Saturday morning, the air was thick with anticipation for the citywide event. Jack paced the mansion, heart racing. They had put everything together: a showcase of Mia's talent, an outlet for her voice, an opportunity for the community to see her as she truly was. Would they embrace her? Or would they use their doubt to sink her into despair? Mia was in her room, rehearsing her latest performance. Jack cracked the door and peered in. She was singing to her reflection, eyes closed, lost in a world where melodies drowned out the harsh reality. A lump formed in his throat. She looked so free, so strong. But when she didn't feel the audience's warmth, would she still hold on to that power? Mia? He called softly, hesitant to break her concentration. Yeah, Dad? She replied, turning toward him, a fragile smile spreading across her face. He stepped in, the weight of the day upon his shoulders. I know you're nervous. It's okay. A shadow crossed her features. What if they don't like me? What if they think I'm just using you? The words pierced Jack's heart. They will see you, I promise. You have something special. What if special isn't enough? She whispered, the bravest girl he knew suddenly sounding so small. In that moment, Jack realized he needed to give her something more than just encouragement. He needed to show her the unwavering faith he had in her, faith not just as a father but as a partner in this journey. Taking a deep breath, he took her hands in his. You are so much more than what anyone thinks. You have a gift that deserves to be shared, and it's time for you to own it. Mia looked at him, and in that moment, some fear faded, replaced by tentative hope. You really believe that? With everything I have. Jack squeezed her hands, knowing that this was not just about her talent, it was a testament to their bond. As the evening approached, they dressed in matching outfits, Mia in a radiant blue dress that mirrored the sky, Jack in a fitted suit that felt too restrained. They arrived at the venue, the scent of popcorn and excitement filling the air. Mia's heart raced, the crowd buzzed like a live wire. Jack stood in front of her, blocking out the noise with his presence. Just look for me out there. I'll be right in front no matter what. What he didn't reveal was the knot in his stomach, a mix of fear and determination. He wasn't just fighting for Mia's acceptance, he was fighting for his own place in the world they were building together. When Mia finally stepped onto the stage, she was met with silence. Jack's heart thumped as he watched her take a deep breath, eyes scanning the crowd, the same crowd that had once celebrated him as a hero. The same crowd that now seemed like a battleground. In that heartbeat, he caught a glimmer of something in her expression that sparked a flicker of hope in him. But just as she began to sing, a loud voice from the back of the room disrupted the air, echoing through the silence. Who does she think she is? Just another rich girl's charity project. The room shifted, and Jack felt the world tilt. It wasn't just Mia on stage, it was their whole future hanging in the balance. Could he protect her? Could he face the community and give her strength in that moment, when it felt as if everything was crumbling around them? His answer, desperate and primal, charged through him. It was time for him to take a stand for her, for them. The moment of truth was here, and Jack knew both their fates rested upon the fragile thread they had to weave together. Would he be enough? As the sound of scattered murmurs grew loud, he felt a surge of resolve. He pushed through the crowd, determined to confront the voice of dissent, as both Mia and his own legacy hung in the balance. Would they stand together against the tide, or would fear tear them apart? Jack's heart pounded louder with every step he took toward the back of the room, where that voice had come from. Disbelief and anger surged through him, mingling with a protective instinct. He needed to reach Mia, needed her to harness the power of that first note she had begun to sing before the interruption. The murmurs of judgment twisted like thorns around his resolve, but he wouldn't let them snare Mia's spirit. Hey! Jack called, frustration flowing through him. Let her speak for herself. The crowd turned, faces shifting from surprise to curiosity, a rustling of whispers rising. Mia paused, her eyes wide as she searched the audience for him, confusion and alarm warring in her expression. The voice from behind him, belonging to a man he recognized from the neighborhood, shouted again, more confident now, "What is she about to do earn our sympathy? Music like hers means nothing." Jack felt the words like a punch. "She's not here to seek sympathy," he shouted, feeling the heat of determination spur him on. "She's here to share her gift, something that can uplift every one of you." The room was electric, tension palpable as the crowd shifted uneasily. He focused on Mia, who stood frozen on stage, eyes revealing the mix of fear and resolve reflected in her heart. This was her moment, and he would not let it slip away. "Mia, you have every right to be here." With that, the floodgates seemed to open. Voices began to surface in support. "Yeah, let her sing," a woman near the front called, followed by scattered applause from others. Jack felt a spark of hope. Mia took a step forward, her voice trembling and yet fierce. "I didn't ask for charity, I'm not here for pity. This is my chance, to show I'm more than just a name." The murmurs softened, hesitation bleeding into the air. Jack watched as her confidence began to rise, the flickering light in her eyes reigniting into a brilliant flame. With every second that passed, time seemed to stretch. Mia drew in a breath, her gaze locking onto Jack's, and he saw not just his daughter but a girl who was ready to claim her space. Then, as if sensing that acceptance was within reach, she let loose the first note, a pure, soaring sound that cut through the doubts hanging heavily in the room. The audience went quiet, spellbound. Jack felt the energy shift, turning from skepticism to belief as they began to latch onto her as she filled the space with her music. Each note wrapped around the crowd, igniting curiosity and compassion. They were listening now. Mia's song rose like a phoenix, every word laced with emotion. Jack could almost feel the weight she lifted off her shoulders. The tumult within him began to settle, replaced by awe and admiration. This was not just about him being her father, it was about her finding her place in the world. And then everything changed. A ripple surged through the crowd, applause erupting like a storm. It was tentative at first, then erupted into cheers as if they had all realized, at once, that they underestimated Mia. They no longer saw a charity project, they saw a young woman declaring her independence. But as the applause swelled, Jack noticed the man who had challenged her, anger flaring in those dark eyes. The uncertainty that had settled in the crowd was an undercurrent waiting to spill over. Jack looked at Mia, who was lost in her music, but he couldn't ignore the threat looming in the shadows. As her performance reached its climax, a different kind of tension began to crackle, and Jack felt a new fight brewing inside him. He wouldn't let a single voice of dissent mar the celebration of Mia's moment. He would stand up, not just for her, but for their future. The chorus of cheers swelled again, and for a fleeting moment, Jack thought they might just overcome the darkness of doubt. But beneath that applause lay the potential for conflict too. Could they weave a future where both the voice of acceptance and dissent could coexist? Would they embrace Mia's light, or would they be drawn back into the shadows of judgment? A choice loomed ahead, and Jack knew. He would have to make it soon. What would that mean for the two of them, this journey of love, acceptance, and the fight for every bright note that Mia had to sing? Jack's heart raced as he scanned the audience, searching for any sign of discontent. The man who had shouted earlier still lingered in his spot, arms crossed defiantly. Jack could feel the anger seething in him, the shadows of doubt creeping back into the room, threatening to darken Mia's hard-won moment. Mia sang with all her heart, her voice soaring, fragile yet powerful. Jack closed his eyes for a brief second, letting the music wash over him. It was a sweet melody that carried years of struggle, triumph, and a longing to be accepted. He opened his eyes again, determination swelling within him. "Let us keep the momentum going," he yelled to the crowd. "Mia deserves more than this. Each of you knows what it feels like to fight for your passion. She's doing just that. Let us support her." A ripple of agreement swept through the crowd. One by one, people began to cheer. "Yeah. Let her shine," called a voice from the side, as others joined in, clapping and whistling. As the audience responded, Jack could see Mia's shoulders relax, her confidence blossoming like a flower under the sun. Yet, he couldn't shake off the feeling of tension that still hung low, a storm gathering on the horizon. He caught the glare of the man, who remained unmoved, face rigid as he watched the spectacle unfold. Mia took another deep breath and let her voice flow even higher, the melody lifting everyone's spirits. Jack felt a swell of pride, but it was quickly mixed with fear. What would happen if the man spoke up again? What if others felt emboldened by his dissent? The music reached an emotional crescendo, and people swayed, lost in the rhythm. Tears brimmed in Jack's eyes, a mixture of joy and anxiety. Would this moment crack open the doors to acceptance, or would it shatter? Suddenly, the man shouted again, his voice cutting through the euphoria. "You think this is music? This is nothing but a plea for attention." His words reverberated through the crowd, and Jack's heart sank. The once loving energy shifted. Jack could see the crowd's enthusiasm falter for a heartbeat as they turned to the source of the interruption. A fresh wave of murmurs rolled through the audience, branching off into whispers of resentment and doubt. "Don't listen to him," Jack called, stepping forward, pushing his way into the spotlight next to Mia. "You all know the power of music. You feel it, and she has the right to share her gift with us. Reject the noise of negativity. Embrace her." He felt the heat of 100 gazes shifting back to him. The dark-eyed man took a step forward, ready to retaliate, but Jack held up his hands, his palms open, inviting peace. "This isn't about sympathy. It's about hope. It's about love, family supporting one another. Aren't we better together?" A moment hung thick in the air, a pause laden with choice. Remarkably, the crowd hesitated, the tide to turn. Mia continued singing, her voice cutting through the hesitation, ripples of conviction in every note. Just then, a woman near the front, who had been silent till now, began to clap. One clap turned into two, and soon, everyone was celebrating again, encouragement filling the space like a warm embrace. Jack could hardly believe it, they had chosen to uplift instead of tearing down. But the man snarled, eyes darting like fireflies, searching for a point to strike. Would he back down or intensify the conflict? Jack saw the tension bubbling beneath the surface, and his heart thundered. He glanced at Mia. She needed to know that even in conflict, she was not alone. This was just the beginning of her fight. A new determination surged through him as he thought of their future, a future in which Mia's voice would command a place in the world. But could they withstand the forces trying to silence her? Mia's voice rang clear and true, and Jack found himself asking a haunting question: would they stay united, or would they descend into another shadowed fight? It was a moment of truth hanging precariously in the air, a crossroads waiting to unfold. As the last notes of Mia's song floated into the still air, Jack felt a wave of hope sweep over him. The crowd was responding again, but the tension still simmered just beneath the surface. What if the man didn't quit? Suddenly, the dark-eyed figure surged forward, his face set in a grimace. "You think you're heroes, standing up for this girl? It's pathetic," he shouted, his voice cutting through the joy. Gasps shot through the audience. Jack's heart sank. "Shut up!" someone yelled from the back. The crowd stirred, voices rising in discontent. A few started shouting back, while others looked around, confusion etched on their faces. "Enough!" Jack shouted, forcing himself to hold steady. He turned to the man, eyes fiery. "What you call pathetic is a chance for healing. For connection. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to accept love and support. Don't you get it?" The man hesitated, surprise chilling his frame. Jack took a step closer. "What's your name?" The question hung in the air like a lifeline tossed to a drowning man. "Rick," he spat, arms still crossed tightly. "Rick," Jack continued quickly, "I know you might feel lost or angry. We've all been there. But what's wrong with embracing something good? What's wrong with celebrating talent and kindness?" Mia, catching the swell of the moment, stepped forward. This is my song, my heart. If my music can touch even one person, then that's all I want. Her voice tremored yet remained resolute. A flicker of struggle crossed Rick's features. Jack watched as the man battled with something deep inside him. Fear? Hurt? Jack could only guess. The energy from the crowd had shifted, not just in support of Mia, but now also casting a light on Rick's defenses. We don't need to tear each other down to feel strong. Mia called, her eyes fixed on Rick with a gaze so sincere it cut through the vitriol. We can build each other up. I've been there, feeling lost but found. Her voice trembled as she spoke, goosebumps erupting on Jack's arms. The crowd cheered again, and this time the sound rippled with a force that seemed to shake the very walls. Rick's expression softened, uncertainty danced across his brow. Why do you care? He muttered, almost to himself. Because we're all human, Jack replied, his voice steady. And deep down, I believe you also want to connect. But you need to let go of that anger. Rick's shoulders dipped slightly, his bravado beginning to crack. He looked at Mia and then back at Jack. It's not what I imagined. I don't. Sometimes it feels like nobody cares. Murmurs of sympathy rippled through the crowd, and Mia extended a hand toward him. We care. We all want to be heard, Rick. Join us. Don't fight this. Something shifted. The tension transformed into something raw, vulnerable, and powerful. Jack felt a swell of optimism. If Rick could recognize that all he needed was connection, then maybe this could end differently. But just as the atmosphere began to change, a new shout broke through. This isn't over. A voice bellowed from the back of the crowd, a familiar tone lined with hostility that sent chills racing down Jack's spine. He turned, heart racing, as he realized it was someone he recognized, a figure from Mia's past, someone who held a grudge and wove a darker thread into their story. Who was this new adversary, and how would they challenge not just Mia but everything they were building right now? Jack's stomach tightened, and dread washed over him. They were not finished yet. Stay with me, Mia, he murmured under his breath, hoping she could not feel the storm brewing just beyond their fragile peace. The crossroads they stood at was darkening again, and Jack wondered if they would weather this new storm or be swept away. Jack squinted into the crowd, desperate to identify the source of the voice that sliced through their fragile moment. Every heartbeat felt amplified, a drum echoing anxiety in his chest. He could see the figure pushing through the throng, sharp features piercing through the haze of uncertainty. As the crowd parted reluctantly, Jack felt a twist of recognition cut through him. It was Adam, a former mentor of Mia, bursting onto the scene like a storm cloud ready to unleash rain. Jack's gut twisted. Adam was known for his influence, and Mia's history with him was stained with shadows. Mia. Adam called out, his tone dripping with possessiveness. What are you doing here? You don't belong in this circus. Come on, we have serious things to discuss. Mia's face drained of color. It was a stark contrast to the warmth she had just shared with the crowd. Jack felt a flicker of anger rise in him, but he forced it down. This wasn't about him. It was about Mia. Adam, I'm not going anywhere with you, Mia said, her voice steady yet thick with emotion. I've chosen this, and I'm not afraid. The crowd had fallen silent, hanging on to every word. Jack could feel so many eyes flicking between Mia and Adam as tension thickened the air. To Jack, it felt as if the sun had briefly set, leaving only a cold twilight. Oh really? How brave of you, Adam replied mockingly, sarcasm dripping from his words. Brave enough to sing for a few clueless strangers? You think that's what life is? This isn't a fairy tale. Life isn't just about riches and success, Adam, Mia shot back, each word strong and defiant. It's about real connections and being true to who you are. I've lost myself trying to fit into your world. Not anymore. Jack could sense the crowd swelling with support, their murmurs building like a rising tide against Adam's harsh waves. He stepped closer to Mia, a silent show of solidarity between them. Leave her alone. Jack looked directly at Adam. This is her moment. You can't control her anymore. Adam's expression shifted, fury flickering like a flame. He took a predatory step toward Jack, his lips curling in disdain. Who are you to stand here? Just some kid playing hero? Something inside Jack ignited. Yeah, maybe I am. But I know what courage looks like, and it's right here, he said, nodding toward Mia. It's not about money or status. It's about being brave enough to stand for what you believe in. Mia's eyes sparkled with unshed tears. Jack could see the flicker of hope rekindling deep within her. This was not just a battle for her voice, it was a battle for her life. The love they created could fight against Adam's darkness. The crowd began to cheer again, voices rising in unison, the energy surging like a wave crashing against a tired shore. But it felt different this time, more united, more powerful. Mia! 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 They chanted. Enough. Adam's voice thundered over the cheers, but he was losing ground. Jack could see the sweat beading on his forehead, the fury bubbling just beneath the surface, his control slipping through his fingers. What do you want from her? Jack pressed, remembering every ounce of fear and doubt Mia had shared with him. Control? You've had your chance. It's time for her to shine. Adam's face twisted in rage, yet there was an unmistakable tremor of fear. Jack realized they were not just challenging one man, they were challenging a past that threatened to stifle every dream Mia had. Mia, he urged, hoping she could feel the strength of the crowd surrounding her. You're more than his shadow. Show him your light. But just as she was about to unleash her truth, Adam lunged forward and grabbed her wrist. You're coming with me, and that's final. Gasps filled the air, Jack's heart raced. Would they lose Mia to this man, dark and controlling? His pulse quickened, filled with urgency. He thought of all the hope that hung in the balance. Time hung heavy for Jack as he reached out, ready to intervene. Would he have to fight for her freedom? Would they stand together against the storm? For Mia's voice to remain heard, sacrifices had to be made, and the weight of the moment pressed down hard on them all. Jack took a deep breath, determined to break through the chaos. Would this be a turning point or the moment everything fell apart? Mia pulled against Adam's grip, her pulse quickening as she looked into his cold eyes. Let go of me. She cried, the defiance in her voice like a rallying cry. The crowd surged forward, fueled by their protective instinct, their breaths held in suspense. Don't you see? Adam sneered, his grip tightening. This is a distraction. This whole thing is a joke. You're just a child playing dress up in front of an audience. You're not ready for the real world. Maybe you're right, Adam, Mia shot back, her voice steady despite the tremors of fear lurking in her chest. But I'll never find out if I don't try. Something shifted in the crowd, a wave of solidarity that echoed against Adam's defiance. Jack felt a surge of courage as he stepped closer to her, heart racing, adrenaline pulsing through his veins. She's not your puppet anymore, he said. This is her life, her moment. You can't take that away. Adam's sneer faded slightly, replaced by an undercurrent of uncertainty. He glanced at Jack, then back at Mia, as if weighing the balance of power. The energy in the air was electric, humming with the tension of 1,000 unspoken words. Mia, please, Adam pleaded, his tone shifting slightly, revealing a crack in his facade. You don't understand the world out there. I've protected you. Protected me? She shot back, tears forming in her eyes. Or suffocated me? This is my chance to breathe, to find myself. You can't control my future anymore. With a swift tug, she pulled her wrist free from his grip, leaving a stunned Adam reeling. The crowd cheered, a tidal wave of support crashing over Mia as she stepped forward confidently. Jack couldn't help the smile that crept onto his face. Mia! Someone shouted from the back of the crowd. Show him who you are. Her heart raced as she caught Jack's gaze. Their eyes locked, giving her strength. This is who I am, she declared, a fire igniting within her. No more shadows. No more chains. As the crowd erupted in deafening cheers, Mia took a deep breath and stepped into the center of the chaotic circle, a spotlight illuminating the determination written across her face. For the first time, she felt alive, electrified with purpose. "Adam, you may have had your plans for me," she called out, her voice clear and strong, echoing through the throng, "but your time is over. From now on, I will decide my path." Jack felt the pride swelling inside him. She was finally reclaiming herself, breaking free. But still, beneath that joy, a tight knot of worry remained. What would Adam do next? The shadows were far from gone. With a sudden lunge, Adam stepped forward, eyes narrowed. "You think this is over?" He snarled, his voice low but filled with rage. "You're making a mistake." Before he could say more, the crowd surged again. People began to position themselves protectively around Mia, their energy a united front against his threats. Jack reached for her hand, hoping the bond they shared would fortify her resolve. "Stay with me, Mia," he murmured, sensing the weight of what lay ahead. "We can face him together." She squeezed his hand, swallowing her fear. "I want to let him take control again." Yet, as Jack looked at Adam, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real fight was just beginning. Then, a voice rose from the crowd, breaking the tension. "We're with you, Mia. Show him you're not afraid." As her heart soared, she looked back at Adam, ready to face whatever came next. But just then, she caught a glimmer of something in his eyes, a vulnerability that unnerved her. "Let us settle this," he spat, determination carving lines into his face. "But know this, Mia, you'll regret it." The crowd gasped as tension hung thick in the air. Was Adam truly capable of hurting her in this moment of triumph? Jack breathed deeply, adrenaline coursing through him. There was no avoiding the confrontation that lay ahead. But as Mia stood tall next to him, he couldn't help but ask, what lengths would they both go to protect their newfound freedom? The answer loomed ahead, casting a long shadow over their victory. The energy in the air was palpable, almost crackling, as Mia stood firm, every eye now drawn to the standoff between her and Adam. She could feel the weight of expectation pushing down on her. This was more than just a confrontation, it was a declaration of freedom. "Regret?" she echoed, testing the word on her tongue. "You think I'm afraid of regret? I've lived in it long enough under your control. You've conditioned me to fear failure, but I refuse to live like that anymore." Adam took a step closer, his features taut like a spring ready to snap. "You don't know what you're inviting, Mia," he warned, his voice a low growl that sent ripples of anxiety through the gathering crowd. "Freedom doesn't come for free. It demands sacrifice more than you're prepared to give." "Mia, don't let him intimidate you," Jack called out, lifting his voice, his protective stance resolving even further. "He's just trying to frighten you into submission, and it won't work. You're stronger than him." Her heart thudded in her chest, each beat echoing Jack's words. She could feel the rallying support of the crowd, people she thought she knew, now transformed into a united front. They believed in her, and she would not let them down. "Listen to me, Adam," she shouted, frustration bubbling under her skin. "You had your chance to decide my life for me, but now it's my turn to choose, and you won't bully me into a corner anymore. My decisions belong to me." With every word, she thrust her chin a little higher, channeling the fire within her. The crowd responded, cheers erupting like fireworks with each declaration of her independence. "Yeah, Mia," someone shouted, and the chorus of support swelled, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. Yet in the midst of that warmth, she sensed Adam's fury transforming into something else, a desperate, erratic energy she hadn't noticed before. "Do you really think this crowd can protect you?" He suddenly chuckled darkly, a sinister glint in his eye. "They don't know the lengths I will go to keep you safe. You'll be sorry for this moment, Mia. I'm not the only player in this game." The crowd shifted uneasily. A murmur spread among them, doubt creeping in like shadows over a sunlit path. What did he mean? Jack's grip on Mia tightened, a protective instinct igniting in his chest. Mia, stay close. We can't let him spook us. Adam stepped back, but the threat in his voice lingered. Just remember, I can take everything away. All this your friends, your freedom, it can vanish in an instant. With that, he turned, flicking a dismissive hand over his shoulder. The crowd collectively held their breath, unsure of what would come next. Mia felt a chill wash over her. There was a deeper game at play. What was Adam planning? How far would he go to regain control? With Jack's hands still intertwined with hers, she stepped forward, her voice steady. It doesn't matter what you think you can take from me. You've underestimated my strength and the power that lies in those around me. I will fight for my right to live freely. The crowd surged in agreement, a wave of defiance rising to meet her words. But inside, doubt twisted like a vine around her heart. What lengths was Adam prepared to go to? Suddenly, Adam turned back, eyes blazing with a feverish intensity that sent chills down her spine. You have no idea what's coming, Mia. This is only the beginning. A flicker of fear crossed the crowd, but before anyone could react, a loud crash echoed through the square, silencing them all instantly. Mia felt the ground shift beneath her feet, a tremor of uncertainty overtaking her triumph. The moment of truth hung in the air, thick and heavy, as Mia's heart pounded. How could Adam possibly retaliate? Would they really have to face an unknown enemy lurking in the shadows of their freedom? And just like that, as the crowd murmured in confusion, she knew that the fight for her future was just starting. Would she have the power to protect herself and those she loved, or was this moment of victory the prelude to something far darker? As her mind raced, she felt an unsettling question sink deep into her chest. What would she sacrifice to ensure her own survival? The crashing sound reverberated through the crowd, shattering the tense atmosphere Mia had tried to forge around her defiance. People turned in all directions, eyes wide with panic. The thrill of victory she had felt just moments earlier was now overshadowed by an urgent fear. Mia, stay here. Jack's voice cut through the chaos. He shifted protectively in front of her, scanning the square for any sign of danger. Do you think that was she started? But Jack interrupted, his gaze locked on where the sound had originated. I don't know, he replied, voice steadying despite the uncertainty. But we need to keep everyone together. From the other side of the square, a figure emerged, surrounded by dust and debris. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, revealing a tall man with a swagger that reeked of menace. His silhouette loomed, and Mia's gut twisted in revolt. She recognized him, someone Adam had loosely associated with the darker corners of his web. The man grinned, a chilling sight that sent shivers down her spine. Well, look who we have here, he sneered, locking eyes with Mia. The little rebel who thinks she can escape. Her heart raced. Get away from us, she shouted, summoning her voice amid the mounting dread. Was this what Adam meant by the lengths he would go to? Sweetheart, I'm just here to help you see things clearly, he said, taking a confident step forward. Mia's hands clenched into fists, adrenaline surging through her. She could feel the people behind her, ready to rally, yet uncertainty hung heavy in the air. Time felt like a thick syrup, stretching painfully as she considered her options. The darkness bubbling beneath the man's charming facade was all too evident. What do you want? She demanded, her voice firmer than she felt. Oh, it's simple, he replied, the grin still plastered across his face. I'm here to take you back to where you belong. Adam needs you in his life, whether you like it or not. His eyes glinted with malicious glee, as if he relished in her turmoil. No. I belong here, with my friends, not in some twisted game he's playing. I choose my own life. Mia heard herself say, the words empowering despite the fear threatening to choke her resolve. The man stepped closer, and the crowd shrank back collectively, sensing the danger and unsteady Tokyo at the edge of an earthquake. You don't understand what you're playing with, he said, voice laced with menace. Adam is far more than you've imagined. He loves you, Mia, and he won't stop until he gets you back. And what if I don't want to be gotten back? She shot back, glancing sideways at Jack. His grip on her arm was steady, his support grounding her in this whirlwind of emotions and threats. Then you'll have to face the consequences of your rebellion. The man leaned in, each word dripping like poison. You'll lose everything, your precious friends, your freedom, if you don't return. Mia felt a wave of panic flash through her, accompanied by a surge of anger. You think I'm afraid of losing them? You're wrong. The sound of the crowd swelled once more, a wave of murmurs rippling through like an electric current. They were still behind her, united in purpose, but fear began to tarnish that unity. A bold stance, but it'll cost you dearly, the man purred, stepping back, seemingly satisfied with the impact of his words. Just remember, Mia, Adam won't let you go so easily. As he turned and pretended to leave, a chill settled in the air. Would this shadow follow her? Would Adam follow through on his threats? Mia looked around, adrenaline coursing through her. Jack leaned closer, concern etched on his face. What do we do now? His voice was urgent, softening the edges of tension. Mia took a deep breath, the weight of the moment falling back onto her shoulders. We rally together. If he thinks he can take me down like this, he has no idea who he's messing with. She scanned the determined faces of the crowd, gathering strength from each one. They'd come this far, and she wasn't about to let anyone take their hope away. But as she stood there, feeling the fierce bond between her and the crowd, a chilling thought snaked through her mind. Could they truly withstand whatever Adam had in store for them? In that tense silence, Mia knew the stakes had just risen, and their fight for freedom was becoming more treacherous by the moment. What would it take to confront Adam and his staggering power? As the uncertain future loomed before them, she vowed to protect the life she'd chosen, even if it meant facing the unimaginable. And then another thought, this one more ominous than the last. Would they all be ready for what was to come? As the dust settled from the confrontation, a heavy silence enveloped the crowd surrounding Mia and Jack. But in that still air, something remarkable began to change. Bolstered by adrenaline and the support of those around her, Mia stood taller, daring to face the unease lingering in the hearts of her friends. She pushed aside her fears, channeling the warmth and belief she'd received from Jack and the crowd. We've faced enough darkness, and I refuse to let it win, she declared, her voice slicing through the tension like a song reaching its crescendo. Together, we'll fight back. Jack's grip tightened around Mia's hand, grounding her. She could see the inklings of courage sparking in the eyes of her friends, many who had once felt relief from her success but now recognizing their own fear of losing her. The atmosphere shifted, igniting a collective strength that filled the air around them. Don't let them intimidate you. Jack shouted, his voice strong and unwavering. We're not going to hide anymore. We're not going to fear the shadows of our pasts. Mia locked eyes with her friends. I won't be alone in this. We're in this together. Their faces were filled with renewed conviction, emboldened by her words. They stood like warriors, ready to face the battle that loomed on the horizon. But as the audience swelled with agreement, Mia sensed an undercurrent of anxiety. Would Adam strike again? Jack leaned down, whispering just for her, we won't let them take you away. Stand firm. Yeah, stand firm. Cried one of the girls from the audience, creating a domino effect of encouragement that reverberated through the crowd. We believe in you, Mia. In that moment, surrounded by friends who finally understood how much this journey meant to her, Mia felt the power of community rallying behind her. The fear that had initially encased her heart transformed into a radiant burst of hope. Yet, lingering doubts niggled at the edges of her mind. Was she truly prepared for the trials that lay ahead? Just then, the ominous figure of Adam's associate loomed back, shoving through the crowd with an arrogant swagger. His eyes glinted with mischief. You think marching in here like a parade is going to save you? He taunted. Adam has eyes everywhere. He'll always be one step ahead. Mia squared her shoulders, ready to respond. You're wrong. Adam doesn't define my future. I do. Each word she spoke filled her heart with the jango of self-empowerment, and she found courage to rally those around her. Yeah. someone from the back shouted. You have the right to choose. Show him you're not backing down. The reverberations of support grew, echoing louder as if amplifying the strength of their bond. The crowd erupted in fervent cries of unity, creating a powerful wave of sound. Mia! 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 Echoed through the square, drowning out the shadows of doubt. Jack's eyes sparkled with pride as he witnessed Mia transform into the empowered young woman she had always been meant to be. But as cheers rang out, a sharp voice pierced the joyful moment, reverberating with the threat of realization. You'll regret this rebellion, Mia, the man spat, his voice laced with malice. What's wrong? Mia shot back defiantly. Too scared to face the truth. The real risk is staying silent. You can't silence us anymore. She felt each rise of her spirit fortifying her heart. Jack watched the inching realization settle across the crowd. They weren't just standing for Mia, they were rallying for the greatness of acceptance, for family, for the courage to face personal fears. Stand proud. Jack urged, pushing the energy of their united front even higher. Show this world that hope is stronger than darkness. For every word Adam threatens to wield against you, there are 1,000 of us who believe in you. Mia felt the swell of energy pulse through her, igniting an internal fire that consumed all remnants of fear. Together, they were building something stronger than just defiance. They were forging a family forged in love and understanding. And then it happened, an unexpected spark of realization tinged with vulnerability. The crowd, emboldened by Mia's courage, began to turn on the man who had come to threaten her. The shift cascaded like falling dominoes, the voices of dissent rising against him. Her heart raced as Mia turned to Jack, the realization washing over them like a wave. Together, we are unstoppable. The crowd erupted with fierce unity, igniting the very ground beneath them. As the man before them felt the weight of their spirits, flickers of fear mingled with the threat he had once embodied. The realization hung heavy in the air. They were fighters, a family, willing to embrace love over resentment. The light they shared illuminated the darkness around them, transforming shadows into hope. This was it. This was their moment. The fight for freedom ignited a flame inside every heart present. No longer just victims of the past or of control. They were rising, one voice at a time, breaking every boundary that dared to define them. Mia took a deep breath, knowing the path that lay ahead would still be tumultuous, fraught with challenges. But standing here, in the warmth of love and friendship, she also understood that they would confront this together. We are ready, she declared, arms raised high as waves of support surged through those gathered. This is the new chapter of our lives that will not be silenced. With strength overshadowing fear, they forged a path forward, welcoming the dawn together. Mia smiled, eyes shimmering with hope. As they faced the uncertain future, one thing was clear: love would guide them through every storm. And as long as they stood together, their voices would resonate through the halls of history, forever echoing the triumph of their transformation. Now, let us spread the power of love and change. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share. This is the moment. True fans understand the importance of lifting each other up.